Increasing your testosterone when you're over 30, 40 and beyond can increase muscle mass and strength, bone density, increase libido, improve your mental health and mood, increase energy levels, reduce body fat, improve sleep, enhance recovery and healing. Essentially, become Wolverine, which has got to be better than Walter White, a man in his 50s with terminal cancer. But joking aside, I know there's nothing I can do about that, but I wanted to see whether I could increase my testosterone. So let's get out of this and then I'll get into it. A month ago I turned 43 and I thought it would be worth getting my testosterone tested. So I made a video on it. This one here. Results came back and they say that they were in range. So I thought, well, okay, that's what they say. It must be right. But after sharing my results in the last YouTube video, this guy came back to me and said,
your free is actually a bit low. Your SHBG is quite high. I'm no expert in this field, but I'm pretty sure Tongkat Ali is supposed to free up your SHBG to raise your free testosterone.
I thought, damn, he's right. The testosterone, when it came back on the results, was on the low end of the scale, and my SHBG, or sex hormone binding globulin, if that's how you pronounce it, was red. And red's never good. Why was it red and why didn't they say anything about it? So my SHBG is high, and if I can free that up with Tongkat Ali and get my free testosterone up, then I could become Wolverine.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
But with a face of Deadpool, obviously. So I researched it a bit. Basically, Dr. Google and YouTube, which of course is perfectly safe in methods of research to test things on your body. Maybe, probably not. I probably wouldn't recommend it to anybody. But Andrew Huberman, Pixme and Thomas Delura, if that's how you pronounce his surname, came up with videos that they'd made and they'd all seemed to have helped them with their testosterone. So again, it must be right, surely. Well, there was only one way to find out. So I decided that I was going to take Tongkat Ali for 30 days, get my bloods done again at the end and compare them from when I had done my 43rd birthday to at the end of the 30 days. Like I said, I don't recommend anybody doing this, but if you are worried about low testosterone, here are some of the symptoms and some of the symptoms that I felt that I had. And if anyone else has had their bloods done or has low testosterone, had it confirmed, then pop in the comments some of your symptoms, because I might have missed some and I might not have had the same symptoms as everybody else, because everybody's an individual. So how I felt most days, I felt tired, I felt less motivated, not completely out of motivation. I was snoring like a walrus. I'd wake up feeling like I'd probably only slept 50% of the hours I was actually asleep, so my sleep quality can't have been that great. It didn't really affect my exercise, I didn't feel that was impaired, and I still felt like I was adding muscle to my body. But was I adding less muscle than I could have been if my testosterone was higher? I really did want to find out. So I went online and I ordered some Tongkat Ali. I took the 400 milligrams that was recommended by Huberman, and it also recommends it on the tub, which is 2 capsules. So the powder's in a capsule, easier to swallow than mixing it into a drink. It says to take them just before bed, preferably with food, and that's what I did initially, but I'll come back to that. What is optimal levels of testosterone? Well, as we get older, our testosterone does naturally reduce as we age. It's not a quick drop off, it's supposed to drop off over a long period of time. But from research, around 600 would be optimal, but again, this was found online, so may not be technically true. But the company that I used, the range that they had was 220 to 650 of someone of my age in their 40s. And I was coming in at 241, which is right on the low end. And I thought, that's a bit shit. Now, it's important to mention that free testosterone isn't easy to measure, and it's done by a calculation rather than a direct measurement from the blood. So it could be higher, it could be lower. But I'm no expert. But if you wondered how to calculate it and go all Rain Man, here is the formula to calculate your free testosterone. But you will need these things. You need your total testosterone, TT level, you need your sex hormone binding globulin, and you need your albumin. My brother's called albumin. Anyway, you need those 3. Technically, if you're going to get tested for those 3, they'll probably work it out for you. But what I have found out is that the estimations using this calculation can have a variance of up to 20%. So there could be 20% higher or 20% lower, which is quite a substantial amount, which is also the same amount of variance that when people are tracking calories and they're using packets of food and they're just scanning the barcode, they can be out by up to 20% as well. But anyway, that's not even relevant, but it's worth mentioning, is it? Well, I've mentioned it. So how did I get on after the first week taking Tongkat Ali? Well, sleep started to become a bit of an issue, if I'm honest. I found that I could get to sleep okay, but around 3 a.m. I'd wake up and I'd just lay there awake for easily an hour, and that was a bit rubbish. So looking into it, that was a side effect of Tongkat Ali, and here are some other side effects which I didn't actually have. It was just the insomnia that I was kind of having at the beginning in the first week. But I did something to change that, and I'll let you know. So insomnia, irritability and anxiety, I didn't have that. Restlessness, I didn't have that. Increased heart rate. Now I have an Apple Watch that keeps my resting heart rate recorded, so that all stayed the same. Headaches I didn't have. Dizziness I didn't have. GI problems, so gastrointestinal issues, none of that for me. Mood changes, none of that for me. An allergic reaction, definitely didn't have that. Bigger problems would be afoot than less sleep if that was the case. So at the stage of the end of the first week, it was just sleep problems. I thought, well, why not just take the capsules in the morning? Having less sleep, the knock-on effect of that can affect your testosterone and bring it down. So surely if I take it in the morning, the benefits of taking it at night, that is the reason what they've said, take it at night, should be counteracted. So taking it in the morning, that's what I did, completely resolved the issues, and I slept like a baby. I shit myself 3 times and woke up crying. Terrible joke, I know. So snoring, I mentioned snoring being a problem, that I was snoring like a walrus before taking Tongkat Ali. So I used an app called Mintle, and I recorded my snoring every night, and it was quite clever. It would tell you how much on average you were snoring in the night, and I wanted to see if that improved. So in week 1, my snoring average was 1 hour and 24 minutes of snoring. Horrendous. Week 2, 44 minutes. So I was thinking, well, is this a coincidence? That's quite a dramatic drop. That's over, well, what's that? A long time. Week 3, 21 minutes. Week 4, 16 minutes. And then on week 5, so just over the 30 days, taking the whole average, all the way down to 11 minutes snoring on average. That's a massive improvement. So either that's a huge coincidence or things seem promising. So I was excited about that. Libido, so did it increase my sex drive? Was my libido up? By the end of the first week, in the morning, I was consistently waking up with so there was some kind of improvement there. And my training, so I do resistance training. 2nd and 3rd week, my training definitely did feel better. I felt great, weights were going up, I was training 5 days a week. And I was more motivated to prepare food, eat more protein and make more effort. Now, could that mean more testy in the testes, or was it just a placebo? Now, was I feeling more energized because now I was taking care of my nutrition? Was it a placebo? So when I started, I weighed myself at the beginning. I took my body fat percentage. Now, I know that bathroom scales, body fat percentage are hugely unreliable, but it was a point of reference. And I came in at 14.1% body fat, and it was going down. But again, that could have been down to the better diet that I was following. But all in all, things felt positive. At this point, I was tempted to get blood work done early. But then I thought, no, I've said 30 days, let's stick with it. Throughout the process, I kept looking into various parts about Tongkat Ali, and there was one thing that came up, and it said you can develop a tolerance. And I was like, man, I'm not quite feeling that zing anymore. So how long does it take for you to get a tolerance in it? Now, I was 1 week off the 30 days, and I thought, well, I know the initial zing seems to have petered out. Is that the right word? But it was only a week to go, so let's just keep going as planned, even though there felt like maybe there was a lack of zing. But again, was that because I read it and I was thinking, it says less zing, maybe that's what I'm feeling. Maybe I've developed an intolerance to it. Or not an intolerance, a tolerance to it. Get your words right, Craig. So I carried on. And after taking the last pill, I retested. I posted the bloods off. Exactly the same company that I used before for the first test, but this time I warmed my hands up in a bowl of warm water, which made the finger prick test only take 3 minutes instead of the 20 minutes the first time, and I didn't have to prick every single finger, and it was a much better experience. It does say that in the instructions, but I didn't read it, so my own fault really. But what were the results? 3 days later, I got my results via email, and I was shocked. It wasn't the results I was expecting. My free testosterone had barely changed. My SHBG got even higher and my total testosterone had increased by 35%. So what did that all mean? It's the free testosterone that seems to matter, and that's what everyone seems to be talking about. Mine didn't jump up loads, it only jumped up by about 9.5%, which is nothing compared to the 37% of the SHBG and my total testosterone at 35%. So I got some very sticky SHBG, which doesn't want to drop to surrender that free testosterone, and I need to lower that. I mean, it's red on the graph, it was red on the printout, it was red from the company. Surely that's not a good thing, but they didn't tell me what I could do about it. So I had to go and research further. So I went back to the drawing board, not completely. I could see that Tongkat Ali had increased my overall testosterone, and that meant that my SHGB, what you know what I'm saying, it becomes a tongue twister. That seemed to be clinging on to the extra testosterone rather than let it be free. And it was not like my free testosterone didn't increase at all, because it had gone up by nearly 10%. So I researched what else could free up free testosterone and what can reduce my SHBG. And there's another supplement called boron. So over the next 30 days, I'm going to take boron, run it alongside Tongkat Ali, but I'm going to take Tongkat Ali on a 5-day, 2-day off to reduce the chance of any tolerance buildup. This is what I believe PixMe does, and it's convinced me that maybe it did have a less of an effect over the 30 days as the time went on. I also found out that an important component of Tongkat Ali is the percentage of, I can't even say this word, uroquinone is the most important part in it. And the supplement I was taking only had 1%, which seems quite low. Whereas I found a company called Nootropics Depot, which is an American company, and theirs is 10%. So I'm going to be using that one instead. And if you want to see the results for the next 30 days, then I will add a video here. If it's not there yet, then I'm still taking it and I haven't finished the 30 days, so probably best to subscribe and click the bell. And being a small YouTuber, if you'd like to support my channel, I have released a weight loss program, which is only £2 per week for 4 weeks. Link is in the description. Help me help you, and you can help me, blah, 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 blah. See you in the next one.